This week's Torah reading is Parshas VaYelech. It deals with basically the passing of leadership from Moshe Rabbeinu to his principal student Yehoshua. Yehoshua is in fact a major leader of the children of Israel. The first book of prophets bears his name. In the parsha, Moshe is 120 years old. He says he is no longer able to come and go. Rashi discusses that, and he brings the basically the last paragraph in the Chumash that said that Moshe's eyes had not dimmed, his strength has not faded, and said that basically it's a case where his time to pass from this world had arrived. Still physically strong. The verse continues, chapter 31, the second verse. He says that God has told him, Lo ta'avor es hayarden hazeh, that you will not pass this Jordan. Meaning that passing the Jordan River, the nation is at this point in the Transjordan, and they have to cross the Jordan River just like they had to cross the Nile to leave Egypt, or was it the Red Sea. But the inclusion of the word hazeh is cryptic, because you could say, well, are there two Jordan rivers that you have to specify it's this one right here? Rather, it seems to hint at something. The word Yarden is from the word yored in Hebrew, literally to descend or to go down. And the idea is that in passing the Yarden River, that one is going through a descent. Often the term for leaving Israel is to descend, and to come to Israel is to ascend. The popular term for people who immigrate to the land of Israel, they are called olim, people who are rising. The pilgrim festivals, when people go to Jerusalem, are called olei regel, as are the people, meaning that these people are ascending by foot. So this is in marked contrast to it. Okay. With this, we begin to learn something about the nature of the land of Israel, the nature of good and evil, and the nature of rectification of an imperfect world. The message of the sin of eating the tree of knowledge of good and evil is that humanity wanted to know, meaning intimately know, what is good and what is evil. The idea chet, which we often mean sin, means that it was a mistake, that they really should have chosen the tree of life in its stead, that humanity's first chosen task should have been to learn how to properly live life, not to have an intimate knowledge of good and evil. The reason that it's a mistake is that if a person appreciates life, that the pain associated with evil does not have to be all that great. If a person just has a slight loss of money, they'll feel it acutely if they know what life is, than if they have a great loss of money. That if they don't know what life is about. Uh, the idea about going into, they're descending into the land of Israel, is that there is much that needs to be done to rectify the land of Israel until it truly becomes Eretz HaKodesh, the Holy Land. The nature of evil is to do the opposite of what what the proper task is. So, because the nature of Israel is inherently to be a land that is sacred to the God of the 5 books of Moses, the evil inclination, so to speak, of the land of Israel is to have the worst of the idolatry here, and as well as to draw people in that direction. The rectification of that evil is for somebody to see through it and reject it. What you have with it later on in the Parsha, God says to Moses, and Moshe also says it to Yoshua, that they see that the people will sin, and that they in turn will have great evil attach itself. They will suffer great pain and suffering because of it. When you were talking about Moshe Rabbeinu entering the land of Israel, it's a case where he sees the greatness of the land of Israel, the temple in its glory, the best aspects of the Jewish people, and he wants to be part of that and to participate in it. The other side is he also sees how much work has to be done and does not shirk from doing it. There's stories in the Gemara about the Amoraim, Tanaim, Talmudic sages, where they have to undergo a certain amount of suffering, and the Gemara responds that they will receive remuneration, schar, for this suffering. In some cases, they say, I don't want the gain, and I don't want the pain that comes with it. Part of the stories often means that the pain goes away with that. When you're talking about about Chazal, our sages of blessed memory, you're talking about people who, by definition, are exceedingly good people. They would not blatantly shirk their duty. So the idea that they're saying, I don't want the pain, I don't want the gain, means that it really is beyond their capabilities. In the case of Moshe Rabbeinu, the fact that he is 120 years old, he can no longer come and go, it means that the resources that he has had, he has used them up. There is really little else he has to give. Nevertheless, the desire to continue the task and to see the beauty remains. So what remains, though, with Moshe is to die a death that has meaning. So to speak, that through the death of Moshe Rabbeinu, especially if you read the Chumash and you are bothered by the fact that he is not permitted to go into Israel, it becomes an inspiration for people to specifically come to Israel. That in our saying, gosh, it's horrible that Moshe couldn't come into Israel, it sparks a sense within us, especially in people who are very distant, to actually come and live in Eretz Yisrael. The other thing that he has left to do is to appoint a successor who will continue the task and to motivate him and inspire him. And he does that with Yehoshua ben Nun, who was his principal student and his most loyal student. And Yehoshua becomes the one to cross the Jordan and establish the children of Israel in the land that was promised to them.